Today we're going to build a keyhole garden, and this is a garden concept that was brought to Africa where they didn't have the greatest soil in some countries, and they were kind of limited on the supplies that they had to build a garden. Now, the idea of a keyhole garden is utilizing different materials, and you can see the overall shape is that keyhole shape. The idea is basically we've layered a lot of organic matter here, and then we have our central compost pile in the middle. Now, as this all breaks down, it will shrink a little bit, but we'll continue to add compost to this center island, and that's why we have this entrance here so we can access it. Now, ours is a little bit shorter than what a lot of keyhole gardens are, and that's simply because we wanted to be able to have kids access it and see the compost. Now, the metal basket that we used had some sharp edges, so we bent those down and then simply split a hose and put that over there to protect your arms when you're reaching in there to deposit some organic matter. As this compost breaks down, it will leach into the surrounding raised beds and provide nutrients to these plants as they grow, and it'll continue to improve this soil in this raised bed. Now, we gathered a lot of different supplies to make this. Ours is made out of stone here, but a lot of times you'll see in Africa that they're made out of trees and logs around the edges, and some are made out of bricks. So really the great thing about keyhole gardening is it allows you to utilize a lot of the materials that you have available to you. So in order to build a keyhole garden, there's a few things that you're going to need to gather. First of all, we've got some stone here, and this will help make our exterior wall. And then we're going to need a lot of organic compost matter. And now is a great time to collect a lot of this stuff as you're beginning to clean out your garden. So we have some old straw bales here. We have some shredded paper, some lawn clippings. If you have a fescue lawn during the winter time, you can go ahead and use this. Or if you happen to build one in the summertime, you might have a few more lawn clippings. Some kitchen scraps. You want to make sure that you don't use any oils or fats or anything with meat product in it. Basically just your fruits, your lettuce, things like that. Tea bags, coffee grounds are also great. We have some leaves that we've cleaned up out of the garden. We also have some ornamental grasses that we've cut back, branches, and we also have some animal bedding down here that'll add a nice amount of nitrogen to our compost. You also want to gather some old cardboard, and as you can see we have some new boxes here and some that's been sitting in the barn for quite a while. Eventually it's all going to look like this, so it doesn't matter what condition that cardboard's in. Now there's a few tools that you're going to need to gather. Something to cut with, so a box knife is great for cutting that cardboard up into different size pieces. You're going to want a tape measure so that you can measure the distance, the radius of your keyhole garden. And then some twine and some marking paint to mark the perimeter of your garden. The keyhole garden got its name after the old-fashioned keyhole shape. So here on the ground we're going to want to create about a 6-foot circle. And we don't have a compass quite that large, so we've made one basically out of 2 sticks and some twine. What we've got is a stick here that will act as our center fulcrum. Then we have some twine that we've measured 3 feet distance from that center compost pile. Now, the reason why you want it to be 3 feet is basically that will be the adequate distance that can leach into the soil and provide nutrients to your plant that will be out here on the outside of the bed. So what we're going to do is just simply use this and go around, keeping it tight. Now that you have hopefully a circle and not an oval, we're going to go ahead and remove our makeshift compass. And you're going to want to find an old cage or something. Now in Africa they would have woven a basket for their compost cage that'll go in the center of it. But in the spirit of recycling and using things that you already have around the house, we've got this old tomato cage that we're going to use. And we're going to set that in the center right there. It does have stakes on it, so it's nice to go ahead and anchor that down. If yours doesn't have spikes at the end of it, then maybe use some old rocks or something just to secure that in the center. Now the cage we're using here is about 15 inches in diameter. This is a little bit on the small side, but if you wanted to do a larger cage, a lot of times they are anywhere from 2 to 3 feet in diameter, and this one is also about 3 feet tall. You might want to get one that's about 4 feet tall in order to just have a larger keyhole garden. Now, if you are going to have a larger compost center, then the important thing to remember is to come off 3 feet off of that center. So again, your diameter of your entire keyhole garden would be much larger also. So in Africa, a lot of times they're working with bare soil. As you can see here, we're doing this in a Bermuda lawn area. And you can dig this space out a little bit to remove that Bermuda, but we're going to try something a little bit here, and we're just going to simply layer our organic matter on top of that, almost as if you were doing lasagna composting, and see if we can prevent that Bermuda grass from coming up through the garden. So now we're going to start building our exterior wall. We've got this old stone that we're going to use, but you can really use any old material if you have brick or even some logs. In Africa, they'll use heavy logs to create that circumference. But we're going to use this stone here. And basically what we're going to do is just start outlining our circle that we've created. And we'll just keep repeating this all the way around. Make a complete circle because we want to create this access area to our compost bin that'll be in the center. Now we've created the entrance here on the north side, which is really the ideal place to put it because you don't want to sacrifice any of that southern and western exposure to the sunlight for your plants to grow. So here we've located our access on the north side. The other thing you might notice is that there is some shade casted on the garden right now. So depending on what time of the year you're building your garden, you want to be aware of what that sun exposure will be like in the summertime. We are building this in the winter time, and so we're getting a lot of shade that won't be there during the summertime. This will be a great spot for our keyhole garden, and our next step is going to be to add another layer of rock to get some more height. Next week, we're going to fill our keyhole garden with organic matter and soil and get it ready for planting.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.